All right, let's see if this is working tonight. I'm Tammy, I'm the Siberian Wind, and this should be another edition of After Sunset Sunday. All right, it does look like YouTube is picking me up finally. Yay! I've had a little bit of problems with it tonight, so I do apologize if you guys were on Saturday edition. That video is now deleted, so you cannot access anything through that video. I do realize there was a little bit of a hiccup. I went live from my hotel room on Saturday evening, and YouTube does not like when I leave a live undone. So, I see Linda is already in the chat and Chloe as well. Thank you both for being here already. I appreciate it. I am not going to be able to get my camera back here working tonight. I have had computer hiccups left and right today, so I do apologize. It is not in the cards, so you guys will not get up close and personal with everything. I will try to move my mic out of the way a little bit if I can. Judy has joined the chat. Welcome in, Judy. She says hi, Tammy and everyone. Well, hi back to you. Hi back to you. So today I was at a quilt judging. If you guys have never been to a quilt judging, it was definitely a unique experience. So during this quilt judging, the judges that are from out of town, they're not even the local judges. Deb has joined the chat. Welcome in, Deb. Thank you. She says hi, Tammy. Well, hi, Deb. So the judges that they bring in are actually from out of state. That's who we get. And the judges that we had are apparently the same judges that we get all the time. So every Wyoming State Fair, my understanding is these are the same judges. And I always thought, and I don't know if this is the case in other quilt shows, so you guys can tell me if you've ever been to a judging at another quilt show. The way that I thought quilt show judging went is that the quilts got hung up wherever they were going to be hung, and then the judges judged the quilts. And that's not what happened today. Both judges had their own set of tables at each end of the building. It was a big hall, like dance floor room kind of place, like it's huge. And so each end of the hall had their own judge, and there were tables set up to kind of funnel the quilts towards the judges. And they just kind of worked from one end down to the other. And they would bring an entire stack of quilts for a category in, and the judges everything would be laid out. They would judge the top quilt and put whatever remarks they wanted to on the paperwork, fold that up, peel it off, get to the next quilt. So basically when they got down to the bottom of the table, they were done with the category. Pam has joined the chat. Welcome in, Pam. I did see your name. Don't worry, I was not ignoring it. I promise. Welcome in. So yeah, I went to a quilt judging today, and my understanding of what was going to happen was I thought maybe that there was going to be more judges, I guess. Or I guess because I thought everything might already be hung up, that the judging would not take all day. And that is not what happened. I did not get out of there until 5 o'clock, and it started at 8 a.m. And even getting out of there at 5 o'clock, I was leaving before there were still categories left to judge. There weren't a whole lot of categories. I mean, like 4 or 5 maybe. But there were still categories left to judge. I left after all of my quilts had been judged. So I did get to see the judging happen for my quilts. One of my quilts, I will be coming home with a ribbon. It's not first, second, or third. One of the judges would issue ribbons all the way down the line. She said she was allowed to issue ribbons all the way down to 10th place. So the top 10 quilts could get ribbons. So with that judge, you were getting... It doesn't matter if you didn't get first, second, or third. You were still possibly getting a ribbon if there were less than 10 quilts in the category. If there were more than 10 quilts, there was a chance you would not get a ribbon. So that judge was handing out a lot more ribbons. The other judge was only handing out first, second, and third place ribbons. And in that, my quilt that was judged in that category did not place with a first, second, or third. It was still on the table when she was finalizing which of the top 3 she was going to choose. So it was probably 4th or 5th place, but I don't think I'm going to have a ribbon. Because she didn't say anything about what placement it would be or anything like that. Sounds like a big show, or is this the fair? It came in a couple minutes late. You're good. It was the state fair. Yeah, it was the state fair quilt judging. So, when I go to pick up my quilts on the 18th, which is when I can go pick them up, I will see what actual ribbons I got. And I will get, if I receive a prize, if there's a prize award that goes with any of the placements that I have, which I don't believe so, then I would receive a check in the mail. Let me put my phone on silent, you guys. There we go. It has literally been one of those days. I'm having a lot of them lately, but it has been one of those days. So what we're going to work on tonight, because I need some sewing time. I don't know about you guys. I mean, you guys tell me. Do you guys need some sewing time too? I don't have my camera showing the machine working tonight. Okay. So I took a road trip. My husband and I took a road trip, and we were gone Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We came home late Saturday, and then I had to get ready for bed early. Is there an honorable mention? I believe so, but I don't know when those get issued. I don't know if it is by the judges or anything like that, because there was no indication. So I don't honestly know. And I won't know probably until I pick my quilts up. The ribbons will come home with the quilts. If I get a chance to go to the state fair and actually see them hanging up, then I can look at them then. But if not, it is what it is. Kathy is here. She says, hello, everyone. Welcome in, Kathy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, yeah, I don't think I will come home with any prize money. And if I do come home with a ribbon, the only one I know about is a 7th place ribbon. Now, I will say this to kind of temper it a little bit. And I apologize, I'm distracted. I'm pressing this block. Oh, can't do 2 things at once tonight. Two things at once is a little too much. And this one has a spare thread. Let me clip that thread. Okay. This is one of those blocks from that 16-month sampler. You see how it creased the lines are? They're not going to come out anytime soon, but I just thought I would try. Okay, so even though one of my quilts I know got a 7th place, it got a place, even though it's not first, second, or third, the popular places. I am not disappointed. Do I think that my quilts were really good? Yes, I do. And the recipient for the quilts, both of them was my husband. Both of them are his. One is from several years ago, and then the other was the Super Secret project. So I put a lot of time, effort, and work into both of those quilts. And so for them to show poorly and not, show as well as I might have hoped is a little disappointing. But I'm not going to be mad that I didn't come home with better ribbons. Chloe says that she's been sewing scraps together that her year-old son picked out at the quilt shop to make Hang on. I do not have all of the text. I am missing words. Bear with me. Okay. That your 4-year-old son picked out at the quilt shop to make a dinosaur stuffed. Something easy and fun. Oh, that's cute. That's a great thing to do. Absolutely great thing to do. Yeah, I'm pressing these first. Not that I really need to, because they're going to get starched and really pressed before they get sashed together. And we're not ready to sash tonight. That's not going to happen. This is just a little bit of busy work getting me into fabric and touching fabric after being around fabric and quilts all day long. I didn't really get to touch and feel them. They were all, being held for judging. And, when you go to a state fair or whatever, you're not actually supposed to touch the quilts. Nobody told me that my first time around. Oh, no worries, Chloe. I have not yet been brave enough to enter into any shows. That's Kathy. So, okay, so here's where I was going to go with that. Bear with me. Let me press this one, and then I can stop, and then I can talk, because I can't do both at the same time. Today is one of those days. I told you, it is one of those days. Okay, so the only thing that can happen, the only bad thing that can happen by entering a fair or quilt show or whatever, is that you get an unfavorable review. Okay? Actually, the worst review that I've ever gotten, the worst review anywhere that I have ever gotten, is when the judge didn't mark anything. The judge literally just did good, very good, checked off the boxes. And that's it. Like, there was no actual feedback as to what made XYZ a great aspect, what made this part really awful. Like, I had no feedback. Like, it is the worst judging I had ever been to. And I didn't actually get to go to that one because that was closed judging. And you guys can tell me, please, 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 please tell me. I think my video is fuzzy, so bear with me just a second. Let me fix that if I can. We are going to turn autofocus off and get the camera to stop fixing things for me. Let's see. Pam says, I wish I was sewing tonight. I ended up in ER Friday night, surgery Saturday morning, and home today at 2 p.m. So we'll see how long I can hang out. Oh my goodness, Pam. Oh my gosh. Well, it's a good thing that you're home, but that's awful. I will say it this way. I'm glad you were able to get to the ER and have whatever surgery you needed to have. But that's rough. Oh my gosh, that's rough. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. You are welcome to leave anytime that you need to. I will not be offended. But definitely rest. Oh my gosh. Surgery is a big deal. Absolutely a big deal, especially if it's an emergency surgery, which surgery on Saturday morning usually is. So glad you were at least home. Yeah, don't push yourself. Let's put it that way. Do not push yourself. Okay, so back to the topic of being brave enough to enter into a quilt show or fair or whatever. It does not matter if your quilt is good by your standards or good by someone else's standards, okay? The point of entering a quilt show for me, and this is what I want you to think about. The point of entering a quilt show isn't to win a ribbon. Would that be nice? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Unique girl time, so thrilled to be here. Yes, absolutely girl time. Fabric touchy time. Yes, absolutely. So the point of entering the fair or a quilt show or whatever is to get feedback. Okay? So I might think I'm doing fantastic on binding my quilts. But I go to the quilt show and I listen to the judging, and I'm listening to, they're judging everybody's quilts. I mean, every single quilt in that show is judged. There you go, Kathy. I mean, that's the point. Showing off your craft and winning isn't necessary. That is the point. The first quilt that I entered last year. I did not win anything. Okay. Did other people think I needed to have won? Yes. But I didn't win anything. I was a little disappointed. One of my friends reminded me that it is one person's opinion on one particular day. So it is that judge's opinion on that particular day that that quilt was not worth having a ribbon. And that might be because I had some major screw ups. Or it could be because there was just something so much better than mine. And that's okay. Is it humbling to not win a ribbon? Yes, it absolutely is. Especially if you're hoping to win a ribbon. It's humbling when you don't. But you get a lot of good feedback. So listening to the judges today, I don't typically struggle with my binding. I don't feel like I struggle with my binding. My binding looks really good. And I do mine by machine. I do not sew my binding on by hand. Forget that. I sew it onto the front, flip it around to the back, and sew from the front to the back. So my binding is 100% machine sewn all of the time. I think on the quilt that they judged, it might not have been, or the one that they were talking about the binding. I don't think it was, I think at that time I was doing the back of it by hand. Maybe. Don't quote me on that, but maybe I was. But the big deal is there were tips that they were giving out about what to do at your corners that would make your corner lay more flat and be full and not be bulky and puffy. Oh my gosh, like mind-blowing. Like I had never thought about what they were talking about doing. And I'll have to show you guys what they were talking about because it's phenomenal. And the talk about the borders and the talk about flange, on flange binding and all of your different borders. So if you add different borders, if you add the sashing, what they are looking for. So then when I'm making a quilt, I can think, okay, does this make that? No, this one doesn't. Okay, so it's not ever going to get entered. That's fine. But does this one? And that one might. That one might meet all of those check boxes that I was hearing the judges say. Now, does that mean that that quilt is going to win a ribbon? No, not necessarily. But what it does mean is that I know something about how to make my quilting better. And that's what I'm picking up. That's what I was spending my day picking up. And my mind is like Swiss cheese. It is fried Swiss cheese today because I have literally been listening to that all day long. And it's great knowledge. It's great to have. But I would not have gone to the judging if I didn't have a quilt in there. So it encouraged me to go so I could see what my quilt did or how my quilts did. But putting myself out there also means that I'm in the environment to make myself better. I'm in the environment looking at my quilt and I'm seeing what the judges are seeing because they're talking about it. So it's not about the winning the ribbon. It is definitely about getting better at your craft and finding the ways to get better. And even if you can't go to an open judging, if it's not open, if it's a closed judging, that's okay. You should still get a judge's sheet. And then you can also go and look for all the quilts that were in your category and see what quilts beat you. Like what quilts did really well and what quilts didn't. And kind of figure out where yours falls into that mix. You know, they're looking at literally everything. They were looking at whether or not the quilt laid flat, whether the quilting was even, whether the quilting stitches were even. Mine are not. Like the ones that I've done myself, no, they're not. The ones that I have paid long arm services for, like where I've gone and rented a long arm, those are fine. But the ones I've done myself are not. So I know now that will not pass muster at the judging for being the even stitching. So I've got to think outside the box for how to get myself to that point. I've got to learn a lot. Kathy says, my local quilt shop has a show in November and I'm hoping to enter a quilt. Please, 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 please. Chloe says, a lot of info to process. Yes. Oh my gosh. So much info. And so here's the other thing. So with having two judges And so one half of the room is being judged by one judge, and the other half is being judged by the other. And me personally having a quilt going through each different judge. I mean, I think if I'd gotten the judge that gives the ribbons to, the first 10 for the other quilt, I think I would have placed. I think I would have had a ribbon for both quilts. But I didn't. And I do have to remember that, it's winning isn't all of that. Like, winning isn't always the goal. Would I have been able to do everything I needed to do in the time frame that I had when I was finishing Super Secret? No, I would not. I did the best that I could with the amount of time that I had because I was on a timeline to finish that quilt. So I did what I could, and I did what I could, how I could. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with what I achieved. But it also means that there were quilts that people spent more time on that were done to a higher level because they spent more time on it. Kathy says it's all about perfecting your craft and getting better. See? And that's the point of entering the quilt shows. That is the whole point of entering the quilt show. It is about getting better at what you're doing. And it's not it's not about necessarily beating so-and-so and like having this ongoing competition about whose jelly is better and is placing better at the state fair. It's not about like that or the, chili cook-offs and, stuff like that. It's not like that with quilting. It is more about getting better at what you're doing. So, all right, so I've got all of the ones that I've already done. They're now pressed as good as they're going to be. I'm going to set them aside and we're going to pull out a new one. We are going to pull out a new one. And I'm debating as to which one I have the brain power to do. Because these are both half square triangle ones. Let's go see what this template one is. This one is the star, the little star that could, is what we're going to call it. Because I don't know if I can today. So we're going to see. Oh my gosh, you guys. Do you see my template piece? That's what my software told me to cut. So I have a template piece. So we're going to see what happens. Kathy says, and you probably get feedback from other sources that you don't normally have access to. Now we like a good chili here, but it really needs to cool down for that. Yes. Yes, it does. All right. So, okay. So I have two different colors. Okay. Let me just lay out what I've got. Oh, okay. These are outside pieces. These are outside pieces. Those are inside pieces. None of those. Okay, all of these are outside. Okay. I'm going to have to lay this block out, you guys. We're going to see if I can do this one. If I can mentally do this one. Because the other two after this are super simple. They're just square, or they're just triangles sewn together. So they're not that hard. Now, I have all the template pieces, but you guys, literally, that is one of the template pieces that they gave me. That the software or whatever I was using at the time gave me. From 2011. So we are going to see what this comes together looking like. And I am going to partially wing it because I know some of these pieces are going to be corners because there's only 4 of them. So these pieces right here are going to be corners. And these pieces are also outside pieces. So we are going to see what we can come up with today. So I have gotten a lot done on my Tempter quilt that I am issuing the pattern out in January. My quilts are made with tons of love for special people in my life. I can't imagine making a difficult pattern to create a show quilt. Now, let's touch on that topic real quick. A lot of the quilts that I saw today, there's some of them, yeah, they're difficult. They're the high up their difficulty level. There's a lot of quilts in there, simple, super simple, like really easy to put together. And it was just a matter of them taking the time to do it well. So it's not about them doing, a very difficult pattern. It's just about them doing the very simple pattern very well. So taking the extra time to do the extra pressing, to make sure your points align, all of that is absolutely worth it. Now, that being said, one of the judges was, let's see, exciting about the temperature quilt. Yes, I know, right? I know. I was sitting there cutting everything apart and transferring my numbers to my pieces. I really haven't had a chance to do that. And so actually taking the time to transfer them means that when I go to sew them, I'm not having to spend as much time going back and forth and trying to figure things out. So yeah, with the quilting, there were some, absolutely difficult stuff. Absolutely difficult. Then there's others that they weren't really all that difficult. I mean, I could probably put one of those quilts together in my sleep. Like, they're not that difficult. But it's just that they were done very, very well. And they were done more accurately than the other quilts in their category. So even if you're doing an Irish chain, for example, the key point with an Irish chain is you want all your seam lines to match. You want your, where your seams line up, you want them to actually line up. I don't know how much of this you guys can see, but it looks pretty. So we're going to see if I can assemble this, because this is what I have. I have this piece that has to go with this piece. And I am not doing applique, so that's not even an option. So it is going to be partial seams the whole way. And I don't even know. We're just going to see. We're just going to see. And if I have to scrap this whole block, we will scrap this whole block and I will figure something out. You know what? Do I have a pen or pencil? No, I do not. No, of course not. That would be too simple. And yes, I am blocked in again. I did that so many times. I'm good at blocking myself in, you guys. I really am. All right, let me get a sip of my drink. Gotta get some caffeine. I agree, Pam. She says that it looks like a hand piecing block. I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree at all. I really don't know what I was thinking. I really don't know. And I mean, this was above my skill level back in 2011 when I designed it. So I don't know what my plan was. But we're going to see if we can turn this into something. You know what? I think it is going to have to be hand piecing. I don't know if I can turn this in. And my seam ripper is probably... I'm going to have to get up, you guys. Bear with me just a second. Oh, my seam ripper and my pen and my pencil were all out of reach. So we're going to grab this and we're going to turn my fan on because I need a little bit of airflow in here. Okay, so you guys have not seen this thing before. This is a makeup bag. I got it at Walmart years ago. It's got a pink interior. There's 2 pockets up here. There's pockets in the front, pockets in the back, and then there's connector pieces. I took the connector pieces out because I'm really not going to use them. But it's fabulous for my scissors and rulers. Susie is here. Judy H is here. She says, late again. You're not late. You're good. It's Sunday. I'm late, Judy. Really? You're not late. Yeah, this is a makeup bag. But once it's zipped up, I can put put it on my arm. Like, I can carry all my extra stuff. Like, if I want to carry freezer paper rolled up, you know, extra rulers, scissors, rotary cutters, marking tools. What else do I put in here? Seam ripper, obviously. Extra thread. Like, if I'm changing. Yeah, if you travel to sew, carry-on makeup bag works fantastic. Judy saying hi to Chloe. Alright, you know what, guys? I think you guys are right. This is going to have to be a hand sewing block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rip this one seam that I sewed. And we're going to pull the bag back out. But now that I know how to lay it out, I'm not going to hand piece it. I am going to take the time, and I'm going to freezer paper template maybe. And I will fold under the edges of the top of the diamond points here. I'll fold those under and starch them really well so that they stay, and then I will applique them in place. That's the way I'm going to do it. So I do have a little bit of brain power, not a whole lot, but we got a little bit going. So I'm going to stack these together kind of in their pairs so I know what I'm looking at doing. Let's put it that way. Whether I'm successful, that's a whole nother ballpark. But that's how I'm going to do it. And a lot of these pieces actually still have pin lines in them from where they've been pinned for so many years. I mean, you got to think, this is 12 years. This is going on 12 years that these have been pinned. So they're going to have a little bit of wear and tear on them from that. But I think that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to work on freezer paper templing, whatever, you know, to get that 1/4 inch folded under, and I'm just going to applique it. I'll sew the center pieces together, I think. Sew the outer pieces together and then template and press under. I'm not sure. We will find out. We will find out at another time. All right. This one is one of the two that's half square triangles. This one is the one that's supposed to look like flying geese. So now I know what that's supposed to look like. So now I just need to see what number of fabrics I've got. Alright, so my purple is my background. That's pretty well established. Alright, so let me make sure these are going to lay out properly. Oh, gotta love this, right? Right? I have no idea what the heck I'm doing with this, but I'm trying it anyway. Okay, that's the way they're supposed to go. Alright, so I know which way my light and dark pink colors are supposed to go. And I swear I had to have cut these out without rotary cutting them. So I don't know what we're going to end up with, but we're going to try it anyway. How's that sound? How did the judging process go on the quilt? So I actually had 2 quilts in the show, in the fair, and one has a 7th place ribbon. The other did not place in the top 3. Now, I don't know. Somebody was asking earlier if they do honorable mention. I don't know. If they do, then that other one will probably get an honorable mention. It was 4th or 5th. But that particular judge was not giving out anything but top 3. So I don't know if she's going to go back and add more ribbons. I don't know if that's how she works. Like, I don't know. This is my first time dealing with these judges. They're the regular judges for the Wyoming State Fair. So, you know, they are who they are, but I don't know them. So I don't know how they work, and I don't know if I have a chance. What about viewer's choice? I think there is an option for viewer's choice. Because I still have 3 shops left on my shop hop, and we're running out of time, my husband and I are probably going to be going to do the last shop hop this week. That way it's all done and we don't have to worry about it anymore. But that also means that I really don't have time to go back to the state fair to go take a look and see if I got anything else. So I don't know. And I think viewer's choice would be awarded at the end of the fair anyway. Maybe, because I think you have voting the whole time the fair is open. Something like that. So I'm not sure. But I am happy. I got a lot of helpful information today from the judges. I was able to listen in, hear what they were saying about all of the different quilts. One of the judges was giving a lot of tips about the quilting. So, like, she was giving tips about the binding, and I loved her tips about the binding. I mean, that was worth the time. Not all day. I will say this. I could have gotten that information without spending all day getting it. But it was good information. So we'll see, if I get anything. And my machine is being noisy again, you guys. We're going to cut thread, clean out the bobbin case real quick, and see about oiling her up. Oiling Ricky up. Alright, bobbin case looks fine. Bobbin looks fine. Let's clean this guy out. That looks fine. That feels fine. I can't see it, so. But I did get a lot of tips. Like, it's a lot of things that if you want to get better at quilting, it's really great to go to an open judging. So even if you don't enter a quilt in a quilt show or state fair or county fair or whatever, if the quilt judging is open, go to the judging. I mean, call ahead and make sure that the judging is open. And if the judging is open, go. Like, it might be a long day, depending on how many quilts and how they do the judging. But if it's open judging, you are getting to listen to the judges talk to you and tell you why they're making the choices that they're making. Like, what they're seeing on Susan's quilt that they're not seeing on Sophie's quilt. They're telling you all of that kind of information that actually is really quite handy. You guys, I left my oil on the other side of the room. Oh my goodness. Alright, but I do have some fluff in here, and I'm just going to use my scissors close to move the fluff around until I can pick it out. So we're going to get a little bit of fluff out of here. I'm just not prepared today. It was not, I have not spent any time in here since coming home. So like my timeline is a little off already. I wasn't really knowing that I was going to spend 3 days out when we left. I mean, I kind of did, but it didn't hit home that was how long I was going to be gone. And yeah, it's a little bit of, pick it back up after you get home, right? Okay, so how many of you, when you go on a trip or vacation, come home and it takes you a couple days to get back into your studio or your quilt room or your sewing room? How many of you it takes a couple days? Me. It is me. I'm the problem. I'm the problem. It's me. Isn't that a Taylor Swift song? I struggle to get back in here, and it's not because I don't want to be in here. It's because I have so much else around the house that needs to be done or wants to get done. Oh, good question, Judy. She's asking Deb whose channel she'll be on tomorrow. Jacqueline has joined the chat. Welcome in, Jacqueline. She says hello from Oklahoma. Welcome, 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 welcome. How is your weather there? How is your weather there, my dear? Because here it is, according to my computer, it is 70 degrees. And we have already hit sunset. So, oh my gosh, it's already 8:40. Golly. Kathy says, I have to go right in the room because I prefer to sew than clean. I do too. But I usually bring home sewing stuff. That's my problem. Helen says, I always say I need a vacation from vacation when I get home. There you go. Deb says she's probably going to be on Mona's channel, she thinks. Yeah, and Chloe saying hello to Jacqueline. Almost 10 p.m. here. Yes, Kathy. Yeah, you're staying up late to hang out with me. Thank you. I won't keep you as long as you need to, or as late as you might want to. If you need to go, I understand. But thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Because I know it is late there. Sewing binding on my granddaughter's coat. Oh, that's exciting. Yay. Kathy says sewing is a vacation for me. It is a vacation for me normally. It's that when I get home from a trip, it's not a vacation immediately. Because I don't get, uninterrupted sewing time, I think. Judy says, okay, I'll be watching and waiting for my Deb giggle. There you go. We're waiting to see the meteor show. Oh, that is tonight. I had somebody asking my husband about whether or not we were going to watch it, and we're not going to. I have to be up way too early tomorrow morning. Yes, for some reason I waited up for you on Thursday night. I was sick, so I wasn't thinking. Oh, no. Well, it was Sunday somewhere, right? That's what I always tell the when I go someplace and the computer is malfunctioning. Back when I worked tech support, my go-to phrase is, when a technology device isn't working, your computer thinks today is Monday. So we're going to go with that. You think every day is Sunday because you're that excited about watching me. That's fine with me. I won't mind. Oh my gosh, you guys. Oh my gosh. I said these wrong. Okay. I'm not unsewing these. They're going to stay the way that they are. It is going to be a happy little accident, and we're just going to fall in love with the way that I've done them. That's what we're going to do. Kathy says, yes, for some reason I waited up for you. I was home most of the week, last week sick with strep. Oh no! My stepdaughter was at school, and she was like on day 4 of being at school, and she was already coming home and going to urgent care with strep already. Since I'll now be home all week, I am hoping to sew each day a little bit. Yay! That's exciting. So I have so many projects to sew that I am going to be way behind. All right, so here's what I screwed up. I'm going to show you guys what I screwed up. Okay, so the way that the pattern is written, you're going to have 2 dark triangles sewn together, and you're going to do 2 light triangles together. Okay? What I screwed up is I'm sewing a dark to a light. Let me turn on where I said dark to a light. And I'm sewing all of them that way. So it is a happy little accident, and they're not getting fixed. Oh, and the vid is rampant. Yeah. The thing that shall not be named. Yeah, I do not want it to come this way again. I hate how many people get sick with it. It is a mess. It's not fun. Yeah, we don't want that. Design modification. Yes, that is exactly what we're working with, Pam. That is exactly what this is. We are going to go with the fact that nobody knows what this pattern is supposed to look like. And that's what we're going to live with. Kathy says, call it night and day design. Yeah. I could, but, it's a sampler quilt. Unless you have the original pattern, which I wrote the original pattern. Unless somebody has that pattern, nobody's going to know. Have you guys, I don't know if you guys watch TikTok. And if you don't, I'm not saying TikTok's fabulous or anything, okay? They've made some stuff very viral. But one of the audio things that a lot of people have used on TikTok is Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. Nobody's gonna know. Like, that's the audio is. It's guys saying it, I think. I'm gonna have to do some TLC to Ricky. I'm calling him Randy. Goodness. Yeah, you guys can tell I've been out all day. And I get to do it again tomorrow. I get to drive from here to Denver to take a friend to an appointment. And we will come back, make one stop in Cheyenne. And then when we get back here, she gets to drive back to her place, which is another drive. iPad is going to die, so good night. Oh, good night, Helen. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Glad you made it. Yeah, and I've got a funny about the iPad dying. All right, so when we go on a long trip nowadays, my service dog really misses his downtime. He loves having his downtime. You know, play with the ball, play with his mini squeaky toys, play with his bone. You know, just be a dog. Kathy's heading out as well. Must finish my meal preps for tomorrow. Absolutely, Kathy. Absolutely. You won't get to hear my machine crashing every time I try to sew with it. But so my dog has gotten used to having his luxury time. You know, his me time, so to speak. And being on the road for 3 days straight, most of the day, every day, he really hasn't had a lot of that me time. I mean, he's spending time with me and Dad. So he loves, you know, spending time with Mom and Dad. And he loves, you know, going on rides and being with us and, you know, getting out and seeing all these different places. He enjoys that. But he really likes his me time. And he hasn't had that. And so today he really wanted me time. He wanted just, you know, some chill time. Nope, because Mom had to be somewhere. So we get there and he's seeing people he knows. And I was like, oh my gosh, I see people I know. Let me talk to them. And he is being loud and obnoxious. And so of course I had to correct him and get him back to, okay, we're in work mode. We need to be doing our work mode things. We don't need to be doing our let's play around and goof off things. We need to be doing our work things. So I finally got him settled down. And I get up to go find the restroom. And this one lady stops me. And she's like, your dog is so well behaved. She's doing fabulous. I'm like, yeah, he's a toddler today. And he starts whining and crying because he's like, why are we up? Why am I not still napping? Like he's fussing about being up, you guys. And just being obnoxiously fussy. And I said, yeah, today he's my toddler and his iPad batteries died. And she just went to laughing. Because, you know, those parents that put their kids in front of the iPads and, you know, they're at the restaurants or whatever with their iPads, keeping their kids occupied and, you know, playing games or watching videos or whatever they're doing on them. You know, I'm not condoning or supporting or whatever. I'm not saying anything for or against iPad parenting. I'm not saying anything, you know, either way. But I feel like I'm an iPad parent. Like if my dog is misbehaving, if I cannot satisfy his emotional needs enough to get him to hush and behave, I feel like I am failing as an iPad parent. Like the batteries are just dead and he's just having a tantrum. He definitely is our toddler. You know, there's no doubt about it. He is a toddler through and through. Love him to death. Absolutely love this dog to death. But he is definitely a toddler. But he's got his days. He's got his days. Okay, here's a question. All of you who have dogs or cats or whatever, do they have a color preference on their toys? We were talking about this the other day at one of my local group things, I think. I'm trying to remember where I was. I don't remember where I was. Maybe I was talking to a complete stranger. I don't remember. Judy says my husky is the toddler. Huskies are perpetual toddlers. Oh my gosh, yes. Huskies never grow up. Never grow up. So my dog, when he was a puppy, no color preference. That's Susie. Yeah, when my dog was a puppy, we took him to the pet store and gave him the, you can pick out any toy kind of deal. He picks out a toy, and then I'm like, okay, well, you picked out an orange one. You're a red dog. You pick out an orange toy. And I'm like, let's try to find you something that looks better with your color. In case you're carrying this thing around everywhere. Let's pick something out better. Mitzi has joined the chat. Welcome in, Mitzi. She says, hello all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad you made it. Right now we are talking about if you have a dog or cat or whatever animal, do they have a color preference on their toys? So my dog has now gotten to the point where he doesn't seem to have as much color preference. But when he was a puppy, oh my gosh, everything was orange. You pick out a ball, if there's not an orange one, it's not as important. Like, he'll still play with the ball, don't get me wrong, but he prefers the orange one. You pick out, a pig, like those oinky pigs, he prefers the orange one. Literally every toy we picked out when he was a puppy, if there was an orange version, that was the one you had to get, because that was the one he would play with the most. So Terry has joined the chat. Welcome in, Terry. She says, I believe they're colorblind, but I know they see shades so they can recognize that. Yes, absolutely. Judy says, I've totaled 3 dogs, and the husky always has to have the biggest bowl. If not, she will throw a fit. That is so funny. Judy says, my Yorkie doesn't play with toys at all. He's weird. He just likes to run. Oh, now that's a toy in and of itself. Running is very much a fun game. So my first service dog did not play with anything other than balls. Like, he would play fetch, and he would steal all the balls, and he would steal all the bones. But he didn't play with toys. He did not care about toys until I got another dog that liked toys. And then he suddenly decided he had a toy that he wanted. Mitzi says, my dog has a sound preference. I bet mine probably does, but we haven't tried it. They don't see colors like we do, but I believe my dog knows which toys are his, which of his toys are his favorites. Oh yeah, they definitely do know which ones are their favorites. So right now, my dog's favorite toys are currently the little hedgehogs that came out of a hedgehog den. And what else? He just got a tent that has a compass, a fire, and a tree that come out of it. And he likes that toy right now because it's new. But he'll go back to the hedgehogs in time. He has fallen in love with the hedgehogs. He doesn't tear them up. They're soft. They've got like stuffing in them, but they also have squeakies. And he doesn't try to shred them. Like, it is, like, when he was a puppy and like younger, he would shred any toys like that. Now he doesn't shred those. And I don't know why. I have no idea why he doesn't shred them. But he doesn't shred them anymore. Like, there's other toys that he'll shred, but that is not one of them. But he definitely gravitates. There's a certain squeak. Oh. Oh, I bet there is. See, if there's squeaky toys, my dog doesn't play with his pigs as much. But if there's no squeaky toys, he plays with the pigs. And he will pick them up, and he will bat them around, and he will stomp on them, and all of this other stuff just to get them to oink. Years ago, I had a Shepherd Dobie mix, and she wouldn't eat carrots or veggies until we got guinea pigs. Then she begged for them. When they passed, she stopped eating veggies again. Okay, so to prove the orange point. So he loved the orange toys when he was a puppy. Cheese is also orange. Carrots are also orange. Oranges are also orange. If you will take apart a mandarin orange and like take them a little bit apart, because he's a bougie dog. He's a princess dog. But if it's orange, he'll eat it. He won't eat apples. He won't eat a lot of other things, but he will eat carrots and cheese. Absolutely, hands down. I have a husky and a border collie. What kind do you have? So my service dog is a British lab. It is a type of lab. Night, everyone. Have to be up by 5 a.m. It's almost 11 p.m. here now. Yes, absolutely, Judy. Good night to you, sweetie. Good night. Thank you for being here. My service dog, he's a British lab. So in the lab family, and AKC just says he's a lab. Okay. So a lab is a lab is a lab. With the labs, if you tell different lab owners that, if you explain to them these different breed characteristics, they will completely understand. So the English labs are the ones that, are really, they're the biggest ones. They have the big blocky, almost bulldog-like heads. I mean, they're huge. They're big boys. They're big dogs. Big girls and boys. But they're big dogs. And they tend to have a calm temperament. They don't tend to be very rambunctious. I mean, they can run with the best of them. They can be active dogs, and they were bred for hunting. But they are definitely big dogs, like 100+ pounds. We're talking big dogs. But they're kind of like that gentle giant that you get with a Great Dane. They're kind of that kind of mentality. And they may slobber a little bit, more like the bully breed and all of that. A blockhead, yes. So Terry says, I was going to say that you have a blockhead. Yes, the English labs do. All right, so the Americans, they are these, and this doesn't make any sense with our culture. The American labs are slender and smaller than the English. Okay? It's the absolutely reverse of the human race. The English are the slender, smaller people, I think, in my opinion, as an American. And the Americans tend to be the bigger, blockier people, but it's reversed in the labs, okay? Bars, any of that kind of stuff. You're launching it, with one of those, like, t-shirt gun launcher type things. If you haven't ever thought about it before that, just think of something like that, or skeet shooting or something like that. You're launching something, and the dog is supposed to go after it. And it's supposed to go after it, retrieve it, go after it again. I mean, just continually run and run and run and run. The Americans are trained for that. They are bred for that. So if you hear of someone who has a lab and they say, my lab clears my coffee table with their tail all the time, they have endless energy, they never settle down. Labs are very awesome dogs. Get ready for a big personality. Yes, absolutely. They can be very, very big personalities. But the Americans were bred for the field trials. So they are the active dogs. And they're still close to 100 pounds, like 90s, that range. That kind of range is an American lab. Husky is a Husky Aussie mix. Oh, okay. So it is that actual breed. Okay, so I was miscorrecting. Oh, thank you for letting me know. I have never heard of one. So that's awesome. Husky and Aussie. I'm going to have to look those up because I'm going to have to look and see. I'm curious now. I used to have a Husky. I don't think I want an Aussie, though. So I don't think I would breed the two together, in my opinion, for myself. but I bet it's a beautiful dog. But so the Americans are still about 90 something pounds. The British, which is what I have, is a combination of the two. The British are bred for the smallest American body. This guy tops out a little bit more than my previous British Lab. He tops out about 60 pounds, maybe 62 at most. And I think his dad was maybe 60 pounds. She's a rescue. Oh, okay, gotcha. Gotcha, Susie. So Paladin weighs, 62, 60 pounds, something around that range. Every time I've had him weighed, he's never been over 65, and as an adult, he's never been under 59. So, like, that kind of range. The British Labs are bred for that smaller size, the smallest size available, and then they have the American face, so a longer snout, longer nose, and slender body, but they're small. But they're bred for the the English temperament. So they're bred to be able to calm and settle at a moment's notice. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the dog that can run, that can keep up with anything, but you're also getting a dog that is fine being an inside dog and a lap dog, so to speak. He's not much of a lap dog. But you're getting the dog that isn't upset at having to hang out all day. Judy says, my turn to go to bed. Emma will be ready to wake me up at 7 to go outside and hunt for cats in the yard. Oh, goodness, Judy. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for hanging out for as long as you did. I appreciate it. I do. I am just pressing these open. I'm pressing the seams open, you guys. That's what I'm doing. I promise I am working on this. We will have some kind of progress tonight, I promise. I'm kind of disappointed at myself that I put it off this long, but it is what it is. But yeah, so that's what I have. I have a British Lab. So you can take him outside, especially when the weather's cooler and it's more comfortable. He can run for as long as you let him. Like, he can run, he'll explore, he'll, chase balls. Deb is also going to bed. She says, good night, girls. See you tomorrow somewhere. Good night, Deb. Good night. Have a good one. So yeah, he can run. He's also good with settling. He's just been a little fussy about settling lately. And, oh my gosh, the toddler personality, yes. Oh, Pam was going too. Oh my gosh, you guys, everybody's leaving me. No, I'm just kidding. You guys are good. Have a good night. I know this gets late for some people. I know it does. That's what happens when you're on the mountain time, right? You guys got to join the mountain time. And I didn't realize this, but I got to sew half of these purples together as well. So, I don't know. We might get this block done by 10. We're going to see. Oh, Chloe's going as well. She says good night. Oh, good night, Chloe. Thank you for being here, lady. Thank you. Oh, yeah, it's been an eventful day. We East Coasters are pushing it. Yes, you are. Thank you so much for being here, though. You guys are awesome. You guys get me going, and then usually West Coast kind of starts picking up right about now. Because they're looking for something to fill that last little hour before bed. I think. Maybe we'll get lucky enough for that tonight. I was just saying goodnight. Oh, you're still here? Okay. Gotcha. You're just saying goodnight to all of them. Gotcha. I can live with that. Alright. So now I've got all of these pressed, and they're all pressed open. And no, I don't know if they all line up the way that they're supposed to. But we're going to kind of assemble them and see what we get. So, what the original block was supposed to be was supposed to be a dark flying goose, light flying goose, dark, light, and then light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, and dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. But because they are now attached to each other, they're all going to be the same thing. And I'm not going to try to change the directions of them. So they're going to be what they're going to be. That's what we're going to go with today, is that they're just going to be what they're going to be. So I'm just going to sew, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to sew 6 of them. Actually, I'll sew all of them with this one side. And then we'll do all the second ones with the second side. We'll just do it that way. We're just going to play it by ear. That is all we are doing tonight, is playing it by ear. I should have written instructions for this back in 2011, and I didn't. So now we are paying the tax on lack of instructions. The East Time Zone gals, iPad is dying. I guess I will watch the rest on replay. Good night, all. Good night, Mitzi. Thank you for being here. You and Helen both lost iPads tonight. The batteries are dying. Oh, my husband watches his iPad all the time, and I have never been a big tablet user. So it's kind of a little foreign to me how to get into the habit of using a tablet for so much. You know, it's not that I don't get people who do. Like, I'm fully supportive of people who use tablets and iPads and such. I just could never get into it myself. So I don't know how to do that. I mean, I have a tablet, and I have it for cross stitch now because I just really wasn't using it. We had some Samsung brand tablets for a while, and my husband uses an iPhone, so we got him an iPad. Guys, he does not leave the apartment without that. If he's going to be stuck somewhere, he takes his iPad everywhere with him, and I don't get it. I don't understand it. It's just not. It's not that I don't say he needs it or he benefits from it. I just don't understand it. I'm not wired that way. I guess I have too much stuff to do with my hands to play on the iPad. I guess that's what it is. Oh my goodness. Oh gosh, you guys, my machine is being so loud. One of the ladies, when I was leaving tonight, from the quilt show or the state fair judging, my iron is leaking water. So I'm hearing it leak the water, and it's because it's been knocked over and dropped a few times. It's got this one spot that leaks, and it drives me crazy. Okay, anyway. So I was getting ready to leave, and this lady stopped me, and she remembers me from Quilt Wyoming in Cheyenne. And she's like, "Are you going to Quilt Wyoming next year?" I was like, "I'm hoping to, but I don't know for sure yet." And she's like telling me all these things about Quilt Wyoming in the next destination, which is Rock Springs, Wyoming. And so it was kind of cool that I'm getting recognized. Now, granted, she recognized me because of my service dog, not because of my YouTube channel. But it was quite a unique experience that now I'm getting noticed just for being present. And that's kind of a cool thing, too. Let's see. What else can we talk about today? Okay. Here's a good topic. All right, so I've been wearing this shirt all day. Nobody outside of me has commented on my shirt all day. Not saying you guys needed to. It says, "My sewing room isn't messy. I just have everything on display." Yes, I used my chest. Sorry. I just have everything on display. So I've been wearing this shirt all day, thinking it was a really great idea to wear it to the quilt judging, right? I think I was the only one there today wearing a quilt-related shirt. And then I go to lunch and promptly spill food on it. It is way down here, so you guys can't see it. And I cleaned it off, so it's not really that noticeable. Like, I know exactly where it's at, only because I was the one who spilled the food. But you guys, I went to lunch and spilled food on my shirt. How many of you guys wear a special shirt for a special reason or a special blouse or something, and invariably every time you wear it, you spill food on it? Am I the only one who that happens to? I have one other shirt in my collection that no matter when I wear that shirt, I either do something that involves being messy, or I do something that involves spilling food on myself, or something. Like, I mean, it is invariably, that shirt ends up with the most stain removal time of any other shirt that I own. And this one is coming in a fast second. Like, every time I wear this shirt, I think I have spilled food on it. And I don't know what it is about this shirt. Chloe says, me, I was known for that for a long time. And I am one of those people, even here at home, when I am by myself, closed windows, closed doors, all of that, I do not eat without a shirt on. There are things that I just do not do, and eating without a shirt on is not one of them. And I don't know how come guys get the privilege of doing that, but I'm not one of those people that feels comfortable doing that. But invariably, this shirt and one other, they're spending so much time in the laundry. They're spending so much time with me stain treating them. It's ridiculous. I don't know what it is about these particular two shirts that I spill food on, but yeah. Oh. I also have one pair of shorts that every time I wear them, it is so hot outside, my legs stick to the seat in the car, or I forget that there's plastic seats at one of the places I go, and my legs are stuck to the seats all day. Like, it never fails. I always wear that one pair of shorts on the days that I'm going to be stuck to something. And it's not that, the shorts are, anything different than any of my other shorts. It's just that every time I'm wearing those shorts, it's either too hot and I burn my legs in my car, which needs service again, by the way, or I stick to the plastic seats. And it's at one of the quilting things that I go to. That's where I stick to the seats. They have plastic chairs, like the plastic and metal mixed chairs, and those are the ones I stick to. I have started reverting to bringing a hoodie with me everywhere, or leaving one in my car, so that I have something to put under my legs so I don't stick to things. The struggles of modern day clothing. The struggles are real. Yes, Chloe. So they reset the code on Wednesday, and I drove it to go drop off my quilts so they could be taken to the fair, and I drove it to my quilt day and drove it home. Didn't drive it anywhere else, I don't think. Maybe I drove it to Walmart, like a mile away. But I didn't drive it anywhere else. Drove it this morning, the 45 miles, one direction, to the state fair, and I was fine. And not even barely 2 minutes on the interstate on the way back, and my engine light is on again. So I told my salesman guy to let me know where I'm taking it Tuesday, because I'm driving someone else's car when we go to Denver tomorrow. I'm driving my friend's car. she can't make the trip by herself the whole way, but I can drive her car without a problem. So we're going that road, and we're going to take her vehicle because mine's been acting up. Case in point. I have to say good night, so Terry. Hope everyone has a good night's sleep. Thanks for the live. You are very welcome, Terry. Thank you for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got about 45 more minutes before I turn into a pumpkin. So speaking of pumpkins, all right. Did you guys hear the update about? Oh no, I didn't tell you guys. I don't think. Did you guys see the sewing machine that I posted in the Facebook group? Like, did you guys see the spooky sewing machine? Let me know if you saw the spooky sewing machine. I know I'm on a 30-second delay. It's killing me. 30 seconds is so long to wait. Oh, so long to wait. Oh, alright. I'm not going to activate it. Okay, so I went to a quilt shop. They had one. It was turned on. I fell in love. I now have one. It lights up. It talks. Its eyes light up. It talks. And it makes noise. So we have a spooky sewing machine for October. Chloe says fun. Yes. I've got to figure out, there's like 4 sayings that it says. And there's only one that I have not 100% figured out what it's saying. So I've got to figure out what it's saying. I found mine at Joann's. It's probably overpriced. But that's okay. It's going to last me years. Because once it is done for the season, it is going on my shelves. It is not going in with the rest of the Halloween decor because I'm not waiting for my husband to pull it out every year. It's going to be pulled out when I want it pulled out. Alright, so I'm going to press these seams towards the purple. So this is what I've done to all of these. So I'm going to press these seams towards the purple just to make this as simple as possible. So I'm not guessing. So we'll see how this works. We will see, we will see, we'll see. And then I'll have half of these to do, or part of these to do the other side too. I think all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, all but 6 have to have them on the other side too. So we shall see, we shall see, we shall see. And I'm just layering these up on the ironing board. I am so sorry my cameras are not working tonight to change camera angles. I'm actually kind of disappointed. But I didn't come in here and test them out in advance. And I'm sitting here 15 minutes before live and having to figure it out. So it shall be what it shall be, right? Right? I have 9 people viewing. Welcome to the 9 people who are here tonight. Thank you for being here. If you have not already hit that thumbs up, please make sure to do so. If you do not like my content, please hit that thumbs down. That is perfectly fine with me. I do not mind. YouTube counts it the same as far as I understand. So we're going to go with what I understand. And I'll pay the prices if I'm wrong. Yeah. Make sure to hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. One or the other. Oh, we're down to 8 viewers. We're going to count down as we go down tonight, right? We're going to go down with the ship. Oh. Can you tell that it has been a long Sunday? Oh, it's been a very long Sunday. And the day is almost done. And then we get to start a new long work week. I don't work, but yeah, it's still a work week. It's a week of getting things done. It's when the car auto shops are open. It's when the doctor's offices are open. It's when all the fun, not fun places to hang out are open. Alright, so we've got the entire stack done. So they are all pressed. They're super hot. All pressed with the purple out. No work tomorrow, says Chloe. Ooh. How did we get that lucky? How did we get that lucky? Is this a holiday? Did I miss a holiday in August? Or we just got lucky? Is that what it is? We just got lucky? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Rest of those aside. I'm jealous. I was never the one that got lucky and had the no work tomorrow thing. Rhode Island is the only state left that still celebrates victory over Japan Day. Oh, cool. Well, that's news. I did not know that there even was a victory over Japan Day. That's kind of cool. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. I needed new information. And so is it always August 12th, or is it always a Monday in August? How does that day work? Like, what's the criteria for it? 'Cause that's kind of exciting to have an extra day off just for being a state that celebrates a holiday. Because you probably don't celebrate Mardi Gras the same way New Orleans would anyway. So you got to have your holiday some way, right? Second Monday in August. Okay. So it's always a Monday. That's not a bad thing. So it means that you always get a 3-day weekend. I did not know that anybody celebrated a victory over Japan Day. So that is really kind of cool. Especially considering I just went to the Museum of Military Vehicles in Du Bois, Wyoming. It is not Du Bois, it is Du Bois. Or Du Bois. I don't remember the inflection, but you have to pronounce the S. That much I have learned. I have learned you do not leave off the S in Du Bois. Everywhere else is Du Bois. Susie, work harder being retired than I was when working. No day off. Yes, Susie, absolutely. I never have a day off. Like my day off consists of being really sick. That's the only day off I get. If it is not my holiday to work. Oh, okay, gotcha. So you might have to work that holiday, but this time you don't have to work it. Woohoo! That's awesome. When I was working retail, we were given the option, the holidays that my bosses were concerned about were Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and Black Friday. So everybody worked Black Friday. You didn't get a choice. Black Friday was the day. But our store was open 365 or 366 or whatever. So we were open Christmas, we were open Thanksgiving, we were open New Year's, all of that. And I would always choose to work Thanksgiving and New Year's so that I had Christmas off to spend with my son. And then one year I realized I wasn't going to get him for Christmas. For whatever reason. I don't remember what was going on, but I opted to work Christmas, or I think, I had him until like 2 o'clock or something, so I agreed to come in and close or something like that. Or I didn't get him until 2, so I agreed to open, and I just had to leave by a certain time, that kind of thing. Visitation really kind of screwed with my visitation screwed with my work schedule, and work schedule screwed with my visitation. So I am glad to be out of those days of having to deal with that every week. That was not what I was looking forward to dealing with. So I'm looking into starting a retreat. And I just don't know how many people would be willing to travel to Wyoming for a retreat. But I'm looking at retreat options. And possibly starting up a retreat. But I don't know exactly what I want to do. Like, I don't know if I want it to be a teaching retreat or if I want it to be just a come sew and hang out in Wyoming retreat, or what. So if you guys were to travel, and this is, not saying that you guys have to be the ones to come. If you guys were to travel, would you travel as far as Wyoming to do a retreat? If you do not live in Wyoming, would you travel to Wyoming to do a retreat? And would you do it because there was an instructor? Or would you do it because it's free time to sew? And you don't have to take classes. What would be your motivation to go to a retreat? And if it's not, in your cards to travel to Wyoming, if you were to do a local retreat to your area, would you do a retreat that has a class that you would be taking, not teaching, a class that you would be taking to complete one project or to work on one project? Or would you rather do a retreat to work on your current UFOs? What would you rather do a retreat for? What sounds better? You would do it to learn something new. Okay, that works. Now, would you like it as a balance of you do some time that is learning the new technique and the rest is open time so you can sew whatever you want to sew? Or do you want it... Susie, I love it. I only have to travel 110 miles. Yes, you do. You are local. You are very local. Would you rather travel to... if you're going to learn something new, if you're going to take at least a partial class for the retreat, would you rather just learn a technique for a little bit? Or would you rather do the whole retreat is all guided? Or would you rather have a lot of open time, free time? What would be your desire in order to do a retreat? If you were going to do a retreat. And I have extra triangles, you guys. That might be why this block didn't get put together earlier, is because I might have panicked because I had extra triangles. So we're going to see if they're actually extra. Oh no. I do have to sew them to all of them. Okay. My bad. I got to sew some more triangles, you guys. I got to do 6 more. I'm not thinking ahead. I am only thinking of how my brain is comprehending the pattern, and it is not comprehending the pattern the way it is drawn out. Open sew, says Susie. All right. That works. Because I am looking at seeing about partnering with a local hotel that has indoor pool and hot tubs. Chloe says combination of free and structured. That works. So I think that I should be able to structure it where, part of it is, class time if you want to take the class. And then, the rest of it is all free time. Or, there's handouts and, guided time if you want it. Or you bring something to work on that you want to learn how to do. That could also be an option too. Because I'm thinking about options. Because if I do have to venture back into the workforce and try to find something I can physically do, probably teaching retreats might be the only option, because I could stay local, not have to travel, which is hard on my body, and I would be able to sit down or stand up when I need. I'd be able to have the service dog with me. Basically, I'd be setting my own schedule. I just have to be able to fill it. So I'm thinking about doing that. It's not anything set in stone. But between releasing patterns and doing the YouTube channel and teaching retreats, I think that might be the route I end up going if, it is decided that I do have to enter the workforce. So I want to have plans in place in case that is the case. In case that is the decision that is made for me, not by me, but for me. And I've got about 6 months or so, probably, to make that decision, or to have things ready, in case that's the decision that's made. So we are going to see what I can put together and what that would look like. My husband and I are in the processes of making decisions, making discussions, and trying to see what would work for the two of us. Both for our current lifestyle, what I am physically capable of doing and managing, and, things that he could help me with managing that I would not be able to do on my own. So we are looking at it. So there might be retreats coming up. I don't know for sure, but that is something that we are considering doing. Until anything's set in stone, I'm not going to announce any retreats. Like, I'm going to have to plan, dates and, plan a structure and all of this other. I'd have to, basically event plan. And that is a lot of work to begin with, because I don't already have an event planner ready. But we are looking at options, you guys. So that is one thing to possibly be stay tuned for. Okay, so here's a question. I am offering that pattern in January, the temperature quilt double wedding ring. Would doing a retreat around a specific pattern be the idea? Or would learning the technique be the more important part? I guess that's a better way to... I don't know if that's a better way to put it or not. I don't know if that makes sense. If I'm not making sense, just tell me I'm not making sense, please. Just be honest with me. I can ramble at night like this. I would not be opposed to taking a class. Awesome, Susie. Yay. The temperature quilt, if you haven't heard, because I don't know that you're on often enough when I'm talking, so I don't know if you're catching it on replays. I am in the process of finishing up, or trying to finish up, making a temperature quilt that is a double wedding ring. And I have permission from AccuQuilt to be able to use their templates, or to use their pre-done things. A pattern is what others do. Okay, that makes sense. So that would be an interesting retreat. You guys would have to bring all your information, and a lot of it you guys would have to bring stuff to it. So the fun part of that one is, if you guys already have how many months or whatever you're doing, if you're doing all 12 months, if you have your entire year's worth of data for your temperature quilt, then it is sit down and sew. It is, if you prep for it, it is just sit down and sew and sew and sew and sew, and then you do all your trimming and put it together. Sorry. Yes, I drink caffeine at 9:30 at night. I apologize. Only slightly. Oh. I definitely need the caffeine. A specific pattern, but not crazy about temperature quilt. I don't blame you, Susie. I do not blame you. Not everybody is. Not everybody is. It's just the one that I have most recently designed. I designed it earlier in the year, but I'm working on getting it published. I'm working on getting the pattern finished writing and tested so that I can publish it. So that's why I was thinking of that one. But I do have, I've got other free ones out there, But I do have some plans for some not tempter quilt patterns as well. Oh, guys, I was supposed to be doing a mystery quilt starting in January. Well, we shall see if it is ready by January. If not, that may get released as... I may actually hang on to that. That might be a class. I might teach a paid-for class off of a mystery quilt. That would be fun, wouldn't it? Have you guys ever done a mystery quilt? Would you be interested in doing a mystery quilt? It's pretty. I will tell you. I'm a little biased because I designed it, but it is pretty. Everybody who has seen the pencil drawing, not the colored version, the pencil drawing, just the black and white, thinks it's stunning. So, yeah. Would you guys be opposed to doing a mystery quilt as a retreat? Because I think that would be fun too. I have done a mystery quilt as a class at Paducah, and it was an all-day class, so that part was good because, you know, we had extra time to work on it. Chloe says, I love mystery quilts, that's why I do Pat Sloan Sew Along. Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah, I was planning to do this as, I think it was a 10-month mystery. I don't think I've got the energy to do it right now because I have so many other irons in the fire. And I am going to be a tester on one of Andrea's patterns, one of her advanced patterns. So I'm going to be working on that in addition to all of the other things that I've got going. So this is like a palette cleanser. That is really what this is. This one is not super important. And if it gets put back in the drawer for another 5 years, it won't kill me. But I kind of do want to get it done and get it off my plate so I don't have it still sitting here. So, yeah, the mystery quilt may have to wait. It may have to wait. If I do decide to do it as a free still, it may end up being like halfway through the year or something. I would like a mystery class if it is beginner friendly. Yes, it will be. It will be. I do not make anything that I cannot turn into a beginner friendly option. There's no sense in having a class that half your people cannot take because it is above what they are used to doing. There's no sense in that. So I do not find a point in having a mystery quilt that is not beginner friendly, because when you start a mystery quilt, you don't know. I mean, even if I told you, okay, this one's not exactly beginner friendly, you know, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, okay, well, that's okay, I'll try it anyway. And then they get discouraged because it really isn't beginner friendly and it's not written with beginner in mind. I don't see a point in doing that. I see a point in encouraging you to learn new techniques and new tips and new tricks. I want you to learn how to do more. And the only way to do that is to meet you at your level. So even though it will be fun for someone with an advanced skill set, if I can't bring it down to a beginner level, then there's no point in me publishing it. Because I feel like quilting should be accessible. When I first started quilting patterns were not accessible to me. I did not understand them. I did not know what I was getting myself into, had no clue what I was doing, and I thought I was pretty advanced because I had sewn all my life. So I would have classified myself as an advanced quilter, even though I was not. So even if you are an advanced piecer or an advanced quilter or whatever, you might find my patterns a little simplistic sometimes, but they're going to be accessible. They're going to be accessible to you. They're going to be accessible to your friend who wants to do them. They're going to be accessible to everyone who wants to try to do the quilt. So I do find that important. So yeah, absolutely, Susie. They are going to be accessible to everyone. And if there's anything at any point, like if I'm going over things and I'm rushing through something, if you ever, don't understand what I'm doing, absolutely stop me. That is what I am here for. I can't inspire you to create if you feel lost and you feel like my content is above your head. Like, some of my conversations might be, I might have a few inside jokes already with some of the subscribers, but none of the quilting stuff should be an inside joke. All of the quilting stuff, the actual quilting, the actual piecing, should all be accessible to everyone. Because there's no sense in gatekeeping in the quilting community. It happens enough already. There's no reason for it to happen here on my channel. And to happen at any of my retreats if I ever get to host them. If that is the route that we end up going, there's no gatekeeping. There will not be any gatekeeping at all. Because I don't find it helpful. I was always the outsider. I was always the one that was gate kept from. So I don't want to inflict that on anyone. I know how it feels. Not gonna happen. Okay, rant over. I am planning, when I do release the mystery quilt, however I decide to release it, whether it is as a free pattern like I originally planned, or whether it ends up being a retreat class. And I guess I'll have another question for you guys in a second. Whether I release it, whichever way I release it, then I'm going to release a couple sizes. So you guys will get to pick in advance how big of a quilt you want to make. Because I still have to get the yardage requirements, all of that figured out. And I have not even started. I will be honest, I have not started. But it is still in my agenda to get it done. It's just I haven't started it yet. So the second question. Have you ever considered, or would you consider doing a virtual retreat? So I know over on Becca's channel, she does these weekend Zooms that I guess they're virtual retreats. So like she starts it up and then people can jump in and leave whenever they need to. She jumps in, she leaves, all of that kind of stuff. It's basically like a virtual meeting room. And everybody just kind of comes and hangs out and sews, or they leave, or they come back, or, all of that kind of thing. Have you guys ever considered doing that? Would you guys consider doing that? Would you guys consider paying to do that? Would that be something that you've ever been interested in, or you think would suit you very well? Because I've never thought about whether or not I wanted to do it virtually. But I know with travel costs being so high, that may be what I end up doing. And I hadn't really thought about it in any kind of detail until just now. I really hadn't even thought about it, guys. I really, really hadn't. So, I don't know whether or not I would want to do it virtually. Because it doesn't feel very much different from my normal online retreats. Susie says, not a fan of virtual. Gotcha. It does. I don't blame you. Virtual can be hard. Virtual can be very hard. Chloe says, I've considered virtual retreat. I'm just nervous. I would say if it has a specific I would. If it has a specific pattern. That makes sense. Okay, yeah. Okay. So, half in, half down. Okay, we gotcha. That works. because I know that's going to be something my husband asks me is, have you considered doing it via Zoom? Like, something like that to get more, enrollment. I just don't, okay, so Stitch in Heaven did every year for New Year's or New Year's Eve. They do a mystery quilt, and it is a free mystery quilt. You don't pay anything unless you buy their kit, which of course they encourage you to buy a kit so you don't have to figure out your own fabrics. Everything's already pre-picked for you, and you just pick a colorway, all that kind of stuff. The typical stuff when you buy a kit project. So Stitch in Heaven offers the kits for their New Year's Day or New Year's Eve mysteries. It was New Year's Eve 2 years ago. This past one was New Year's Day. So, it's one or the other. And so I did both of them the last 2 years. Like I did the New Year's Eve and I did the New Year's Day. And the New Year's Eve one, they had everything set up in their retreat center at Stitch in Heaven. And they had all these sewers sitting there doing their retreat live. And while it was interesting to see, I'm not really sure how I felt about all the stitchers there doing everything, because then I kind of felt like they had the unfair advantage to everything, and I found myself a little jealous, maybe that was what it was. I'm not sure if that's actually what the problem is that I was jealous, or that I just kind of felt like left out a little bit. Because here they are, they've already got, some of the instructions in advance. And here I am sitting here trying to do everything, and I don't have any of the instructions in advance. So, I'm learning it, as are all the other people at home, and we don't have any, extra help. I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. I felt some kind of way, but I'm not sure how I felt. Now, last year, if they had people at the retreat center doing it, they didn't show them. So it was just Rob and whoever the partner lady is. It's been the same partner lady the last 2 years. And I apologize if Rob and his friend are ever watching my channel and hear this. So, don't get mad at me for not knowing names. Rob kind of stands out a little bit. So that's why I know his name. I've seen him a lot more than I've seen whoever it is that he partnered with for both of the mystery quilts. So I don't know her name. That's all it is I just don't know her name. And I can't think of it off the top of my head. I mean, if anybody says it, in the chat, if you guys know who it is, that'll probably, ring a bell. It'll make sense. I just can't think of it off the top of my head, who she is. But, so last year was better than the year before. But they still had technical difficulties. The mics weren't always working properly. There were other issues going on. They'd play music and the music would be too loud. I lost a point, you guys. I lost a point. All my other points are here. But I lost one. Oh. So I've got all of these sewn in pairs of 2. And so now they're pressed. And they're all pressed going the same direction. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sew them in 2 rows. So I'm going to sew 3 across, and then I'll come back and add the last 2 to each one. So we are getting there. We are getting there. We will have a finished block. That's what I can say. I got 10 minutes and we'll have a finished block. It will take less than 10 minutes, I think. Provided I don't have to pull out Sean's bestest friend, we will have a block in less than 10 minutes. He's not my bestest friend. He's Sean's bestest friend. That's what we're going to go with. And we're not singing the special Laura Lynn song either. I've already had to use Jackie once. Jackie can stay put away. I do not mind if Jackie stays put away for the moment. Alright, let's see. Is that direction? Yes, that direction. Alright. And all I'm doing is I'm making sure that each of these rows is going the opposite direction of the row before it. These are like oversized. Some of these are oversized. I don't know. And I'm not trimming any of these up. So I don't know how this is going to look. But we are just going to go with it. Because that's what we're going to do at this time of night. And it's Sunday. And this is just about getting some sewing time in. Getting some time with the machine. Getting some friend time in. All of that. Because you got to have some friend time to end out your week. End out your weekend with some friend time. Alright, so now we are to the point of adding the last sections. And we're just going to make sure we are putting them on. Okay, let's actually swap it. We'll go to this one if we're going to go that direction. And we are going to make sure it's going the right direction. It is. So line that up as best we can. And we are just going to roll with it. You guys have heard of winging it, right? That is totally what we're doing. And my thread just jammed in the machine. Oh my gosh, you guys. So I think the thread jamming in the machine is the sewing machine equivalent of throwing an engine code in the car, maybe. Is that what we're going to go with? Is that a good comparison? Jamming the thread jamming in your machine is the engine code. It's the universal engine code for a sewing machine. Oh, I did get a new toy today. I did buy fabric yesterday. Yeah, Friday, and then I bought a little bit more stuff Saturday. But I did buy fabric Friday at one of my shops. Chloe laughing. Probably about the engine code. Oh my gosh, Ricky, you are sounding so rough. So I picked up some fabric. Spent a little bit more than I expected to spend, but got what I needed. And so now I have fabric for another project that is not currently on the agenda, but will be second part of 2025. Yeah, I'm already planning that far out, you guys. And that felt really tight. Oh, my bobbin thread is really tight, you guys. I'm having major tension issues. I've done something to my machine. Yeah, I don't know if this tension's gonna hold or not. Yep, it'll hold for this block, but guys, I have done something to Ricky. I don't know what. Maybe carrying him back and forth. He's not liking me too much for that. That's what we're gonna go with, is that he's not liking me for that. We are gonna see if he will behave a little bit. We've got 2 rows of stitching to sew. Okay. Thread's pulling up. It's just really tight. Yeah. We're gonna have to take... Yeah, it does not sound good. It doesn't. He's mad at me. He's very, very mad at me. And he's overdue for service. And I can do his service, but I haven't been doing his service. So I really need to do his service. So, yeah. He's mad at me. This will get us through one block, I think. I've got 2 rows of stitching. We are going to see if we can get it through 2 rows of stitching. And then I will take him apart tomorrow when I get home from Denver and clean him and properly oil him and possibly take extra covers off and all of that kind of stuff and double check. Alright. The stitching was fine on one of the rows, just not on the second row. Let me go ahead and take them apart. Hang on. This may put us a little over 10 o'clock, but let me see. Let me see if I can get these last 2 rows. Because it just does not sound pretty at all. Alright, I did have a piece of thread in there, maybe. We're going to hope that that's what it was. It was not letting it pull. We're going to close this back up. And we are going to see almost feels like this has thread stuck in it, which it might. We're going to see. We're going to see. Ricky is typically my workhorse, but when you don't take care of it, you know, it's my own fault if Ricky is misbehaving. It is not Ricky's fault. It is mine. All right. That didn't sound good either. Oh, maybe it snapped into place then. Okay, he sounds better at the moment. We will see. We will see. All right, we got 4 minutes. 4 minutes to sew 2 seams. So nesting or doing web piecing like this, where you piece everything kind of in a row, especially if you're going to nest your seams, makes it a lot easier. So if you've not done a web piecing before, I did go over web piecing in Here's the Angle. Oh, Ricky sounds good. Ricky sounds really good. Guys, there was a piece of thread caught in Ricky. That's what it was. That's what we're going to go with. That's our story and we're sticking to it. I think I need to stop carrying him so much. I think I need to find other things to take to sew or to work on that are not carrying Ricky. We're gonna start trying to do that. Take a little bit better care of him. But if you guys have never done web piecing before, if you go back to the Here's the Angle pattern and tutorial, I do go over how to web piece. The point of web piecing is to make sure that however you were originally laying things out is the way that things are going to stay laid out when you go to pick them up again later. Now, and Here's the Angle, I only did the blocks as web piecing. So I didn't add in all, it wasn't an entire, quilt. But that's how I do my quilts. And I do them just sitting here. I don't get up. I don't involve my fancy design board all the time. I just hang out at the machine. And I'm able to do that because of web piecing. So once I start linking things together, I am just linking them together and they stay linked until I am ready to cut them apart. And that has been an absolute lifesaver of a technique. So if you guys have never checked it out, please go back and check out Here's the Angle. I believe it's episode... Gosh, when was that? Did I do web piecing in 1 or 2? I can't remember which one it is. But I go over web piecing in either episode 1 or 2. I think it's in episode 2, because 1 is all the half square triangles. So I think it's episode 2. So if you've not seen Here's the Angle yet, this is your clue. Let's go. You've not tried web piecing yet, says Chloe. Yes, web piecing is fantastic. So before I sat down with all of this right here, it was already pieced together because I didn't cut my threads. So I'm not having to refigure out which direction goes which way. Okay, that's my 10 o'clock alarm, guys. So we're going to get off here right after I press this. So I'm going to just press these. Doesn't really matter because they're not going to go up against anything other than sashing. They're just, within the block itself. And what's easiest for me right now is to press them all towards the inner row. And I will give this a better press and starch later. I'm not going to do it right now. All right. That is not what that was supposed to look like. But it's kind of like cut and chiseled in a way. That is not what I was intending for this block to look like. And I don't know how well you guys can see this. This block right here, I know it's very, very pale. Like you see the blue half square, or the blue flying geese. They were all supposed to be like that. Oh, I wasn't supposed to flip the directions. Oh, oops. My bad. It's supposed to be light and dark, but this works well. So this is going to be our finished block for this one. And that leaves us with 1, 2, and 3 blocks left. So out of 12 blocks, we now have 9 done. And it's comparable size to some of the others, so it's not that far off from the other blocks size-wise. So, all right, I'm not going to keep you guys. I'm going to have to get off of here. Meteors are out. My husband and daughter just let me know. Absolutely, Chloe, you go watch that. I am going to go take meds and go get in the shower and then go get in bed. So I will see you guys Tuesday night. I'll give you guys some more updates, and we are going to sew on Tuesday night. Don't know exactly what we're going to sew yet, but we are going to sew. So please keep your eyes open for Tuesday night's broadcast, and we will see you then. Have a good evening, and welcome to your work week.